Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Danny Danae Show. I am Danielle Danae, aka Danny Danae, and I've got a lot to say. So let's get into it. Fashion weeks are becoming more and more of a joke. Let's talk about it. So, if you guys aren't in the fashion industry world, I'm going to explain what fashion weeks are. Fashion weeks happen twice throughout the year for major cities like New York, Milan, and Paris, right? LA is trying to make it into a thing, LA Fashion Week, but people that know, I live in LA, it's not a thing. They're trying to make it a thing. They got a long way to go before it becomes of some significance. But yeah, like the major ones are New York, Milan, and Paris. And they happen in the beginning of the year, at the end of the year. And the one at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, pardon me, just happened. Paris Fashion Week just ended today, October 1st. And before that was Milan Fashion Week, and before that was New York Fashion Week. So, yeah, it's just funny, me being in the modeling industry, seeing the decline. And I just wanted to come up and talk about it today because, like I said, today was the last day for the Fashion Week. So, I wanted to give my opinion. Too many designers, it's just, I'm looking, I get all my information a lot from Vogue, and I'll just see it on Instagram because that's just my algorithm. I'm a model. I like looking at model stuff, runway things. And the designers, even the designs, they're just not all bad. Gia Hadid, I forget what designer she walked for, but she's going viral because she had this duct tape just wrapped around her. I think the designer's name was on it. It was yellow duct tape, and the shoes matched. And it was just like, this is not even cute. Like, I don't know. Like, there were definitely designs like this, like back in the 90s, maybe even early 80s or late 80s. But it didn't look as tacky. I don't know. And I don't know if the tackiness comes from, is it coming from the models wearing it, or it's just the way the designers are doing it now is tacky. I also noticed Gigi Hadid was actually also bigger. People were commenting on it left and right. I was like, am I going crazy, or does her thighs look a little thicker and the tape looks like it's suffocating her? And it sure did, And there's nothing wrong. She's not super big, but you can clearly see the weight gain. And so many people that are not in the industry and don't know fashion, don't understand it the way I do, and, have been around designers to understand why they want slimmer models, is because it's annoying, because I understand, because when a bigger model puts on clothes, it's when they're heavier in weight, the jiggle from their walk is distracting. It really is. And also, like I said, she looked like she was suffocating, whereas if a slimmer person was wearing it, it wouldn't look as suffocating. I don't know how to explain it. It just does. People that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. And yeah, and also to the designer's credit, when they use a bigger model, they have to use more fabric, and it costs them more money, and it's annoying. It's probably it's an inconvenience, as an unnecessary inconvenience on their part. Also, things just look better on slimmer people. I don't know. People hate to hear the truth. It's just the truth. And, you can hound them all day for the models looking anorexic, and all that. But at the end of the day, you make certain sacrifices for certain career choices. And a lot of them are unhealthy sacrifices. And, if you choose that profession, that is what you got to do. But back to, Gigi Hadid, yeah, it's nothing against bigger women. If you want to hire plus size models, go ahead. But there's a reason why these women are slim. It's not like they just wanted to star women and, have them, be so uncomfortable and not want them to walk their runways. No, there's a bunch of reasons behind why they do so. And, it's just kind of a slap in the face to see a model like Gigi Hadid. She already developed her career. She's been a model for 10 plus years. She's definitely had the connections. She had the mother, that was a model, and then she married a real estate mogul, I think. And, was on a TV show and got Gigi Hadid in the spotlight. Same with Kendall Jenner and then her sister Bella. But it's just a slap in the face, I feel like, for a lot of models who actively pursue this career and actively work hard to maintain their very slim weight. And for her to just, eat the way she does, and this is all eating. It's all eating. People think, exercising. More of the reason people gain weight is because of their diet. So yeah, she's eating more. She's like, forget this. I'm going to walk this runway being a little heavier because I'm freaking Gigi Hadid. And it's just like, and Gigi Hadid already, I think her walk is terrible. She's not a great model. Bella, her younger sister, Bella Hadid, you can look her up. She's the actual model to me, the high fashion, the one that draws attention, is really good at her job. When Hadid is very masculine looking, she used to play volleyball, very athletic type body, very hard. When, high fashion modeling is not about that. It's about looking soft but fierce, not hard at all, very feminine, very small, and she's just tough all around. And, her walk is hard too. So I just think the added weight gain makes it look 10 times worse. And other people are picking up on that. It's not just me, but I'm seeing it 10 times worse because I'm in the industry and I know what models are supposed to look like, So yeah, there's that. Put Gigi Hadid aside, though, the whole industry is just in shambles. You got celebrities walking these runways instead of high fashion skilled models who have trained for this a lot of their lives and got in the industry super young and know what the heck they're doing, know how to walk, know how to sell clothes. Then these celebrities are just coming because they're famous and they got a following, they got a movie coming out, and just wearing these clothes and looking trashy, not even, can't walk to save their lives. Like, it's just, I remember I saw Kim Kardashian walking. I think it was a Balenciaga show. Oh, don't get me started on Balenciaga. Oh my goodness. Oh, they just had a show in Paris for Paris Fashion Week, but I'll get to that later. But Kim Kardashian when she was walking, it was just like, she looked so uncomfortable. She walked slow. Her face looked nervous. There's a fierceness a model's supposed to have in her face the whole time through. No matter, if she's nervous, uncomfortable, you're the utmost uncomfortable. You wear shoes that are too small, too big, wear clothes that are too tight, too loose, your hair too tight, too loose sometimes. It's just like, people don't appreciate the professionalism and the amount of work it takes to really be a model. People think it's just, looking pretty and walking down a runway, and it's not. It's so much more than that. And when celebrities just get on the runway and think they can emulate that type of class, that same type of class and, professionalism and fierceness, it's, again, just a major slap in our faces. Major slap in our faces. But that's been a thing for a while now. I feel like since the maybe like mid 2000s, I won't say super early 2000s, maybe or super early. I think, I'm trying to think when it was, there was a time when J-Lo wore this Versace dress. It's like iconic. It's a low V cut, kind of sheer, I forget what it is, some type of print on it that she wore. I think it was the early 2000s. But then she went on the runway to walk it again for Versace, and I remember just looking at her. But this was later because she got, this particular show was later because I remember her looking older. But I remember when she first wore it, I think it was in the early 2000s. But then she wore the same dress years later, and I just remember looking at her walking like, what a mess. Y'all could look it up. Versace's iconic dress, J-Lo, will pop up on YouTube, and you'll see her walking, and she just looks a mess. She's throwing the dress everywhere. Her face looks a little weird. And it's just, it's just tacky. I don't care if you're J-Lo. I don't care if you're Beyonce. If you don't know how to walk a runway, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there. I'm sorry. There's a certain class, like I said, there's a certain elegance. It takes a certain individual to, it should, and it has been for a while. It's only now shifting. A certain specific type of model that wears these clothes. It's all about, selling that elegance. Same with Victoria's Secret Fashion Show. I can't. That show is coming up soon, and I am curious to see how it's going to be, because it's not going to be. I already know. I already can tell by their posting and advertisement. Their advertisement, it's not going to be like it was before they canceled it in, I think, 2018, 2019. It's going to be all inclusive. It's going to be influencers. It's going to be all about the show. You know, they already released, you know, it's all females for performing, like Cher and Tyla. It's not gonna be saying they're still including bigger models on the runway. And again, nothing against bigger models, but there's just a time and place for everything. If you're a plus size model, you're killing it in the game. Kudos for you. Paloma, I think, is one of them. Kudos to her. But at the same time, it's just, there's not a plus size model out there that I feel has been really killing it on the runway. You know, I've seen Ashley Graham, and I don't think we should use the term plus size for women that are, you know, are not very, very skinny. Like when they try to call Barbara Palvin, y'all can look her up. I remember she walked at Victoria's Secret Fashion Show and they were calling her plus size when she's not plus size at all. She's just not a size 2 or 4. She's like a size, I think, like 6 maybe plus. No, plus size is size 14 and up. I think that's absolutely crazy when we call people plus size for just being normal size. Let me say that. But at the same time, again, I get why, you know, they want these models super slender. The fat is a distraction. The excess fat is a distraction, and it's just gorgeous. The more slender you are, the best you look. You know, not to the point where your bones are sticking out. But these women's bones aren't sticking out. You know, they're just really slim. And they got the breasts. They got the pretty faces. They look healthy. You know, so I get it. And it's a fantasy being sold. Literally, the Victoria's Secret show says that it's a fantasy being sold, and the same goes for, you know, these fashion weeks. But yeah, the designers, I don't know. It seems like either their designs are just, you know, not as good looking because the models, or I don't know, maybe their fabrics are different. I don't know, they're making it look more cheap. I don't know, but that's a factor. And then the people attending, it's all influencers. It's all people that, a lot of these people just have a major following, but no one knows who they really are. They just like TikTok stars or, you know, YouTube fanatics, and they get invited to sit next to Anna Wintour, and it's just like, why are you even here? These are people that don't even care about fashion. They don't they don't appreciate clothes. They don't appreciate the models walking. You know, it's just for clout. It's just to get some content for their Instagram. I remember that there was YouTubers. I don't know when the exact pinpoint of this moment was, but there was YouTubers and content creators, period, that were documenting, you know, or like there was one that actually could pinpoint a certain time and event where an influencer came in and flew in from wherever they were to sit next to Anna Wintour on the show, and that's when the, you know, exclusivity and importance of the show like kind of went down. You know, the shock and awe factor, because you're just inviting anybody to come sit next to Anna Wintour, the head person over Vogue. Is crazy. Like that's like, she's royalty, you know, in our eyes. And to just allow someone on Instagram that's really a nobody but feels like they're somebody because they have a following to sit next to you, it's just like you lose value. You lose your credibility. You lose your importance. Like, anybody knows, if you're around if you allow access to people that don't deserve to be around you, it's like no one cares. It's just like you let anybody be around you, your value goes down. If anybody could purchase a diamond, they wouldn't be so valuable. So yeah, it's the people being invited, the people sitting in shows, the people I don't even know, like people, you know, that was invited to these shows earlier on, you know, had something to do with the industry or had some fashion sense. you know, and these people attending, these nobodies attending, I don't call them nobodies, but these people that aren't into fashion, who are attending, clearly you could tell they're not into fashion, but because of what they're wearing. Even they're showing up looking a hot mess. I don't know when it became a trend to wear underwear, and now that's high fashion, and maybe cover up with a see-through cover up, not really covering up. It's just like that's become a thing now, and we call it fashion. Like, when did that become a thing? I say it all the time, but like, it's so many people that value fashion. I say it to me too. They're like, please bring Fashion Police back. With Joan Rivers, y'all remember that show, Fashion Police, when they just commented on everybody on red carpets. I don't think they did runways, but I wish they did now, because this is insane. This is insane. Not runways, fashion week events. I don't know. It was more like red carpet, like, you know, Oscars and Grammys, but they were still around. I would love them to do commentary on these fashion week events, because their clothes are trash. They're so trash, and we need to bring shame back. It's like nobody's ashamed to look a mess. It's glorified, actually, in our media spaces, and it's just like, we need to stop glorifying this. This is not cute. Like, what are we doing? Walking around naked is not fashion. And it takes a certain, like, people who understand clothes, it takes a certain individual to pull something off. Not everybody can pull off something, you know, one of these high, like a normal high fashion model could wear in the everyday. Again, they're selling a fantasy. And a designer, that's why they have multiple models, you know, in their shows, because even though they're all supposedly tall, slender, and, you know, have great features, not everything is going to look good on every woman, every feature, because even though, you know, they're slender, they have different body types. Their hips, their measurements are a little different, and their facial features might not, in skin tone, might not look as good on one model that it would the other. Like, there's so many factors people don't think about, and I'm here to tell you about them, to think about this stuff. You know, not hound. I think, you know, so many people are so against, like, designers wanting to have slender models, and they are all for this inclusivity thing, because, you know, they've deemed it as fat shaming when that's never been the case. And they know that's never been the case, because they loved watching it in the early 2000s and the 90s when there weren't any plus size models. You know, it's just not their profession. It's just not their lane. And obese plus size women knew to stay in their lane over there. But now we have this everybody's got to be included in everything, or it automatically becomes offensive. And it's just like, no, it's not meant for you guys. Just like plus size modeling is not meant for slender women. We are not complaining. You never see a slender woman complaining about a plus size model gig when they're specifically looking for plus size models. But it's when y'all come into our profession thinking like y'all are owed a shot, and it's like, no, we work for this. We starved for this. We worked out for this intensely. And you think you just can come in and be like, oh no, you gotta give me this because I'm me? It's a freaking joke. It's a freaking joke. And, you know, I just am so, it's so funny. My agent tried to get me to do Fashion Week this year in New York, and I was just like, because I did it. I've done it before. I did the whole audition. I flew out to New York in 2022. I flew out to New York. I flew out a couple weeks earlier so I could go to castings. I auditioned. I landed a couple shows. I even landed on, you know, a feature on Vogue. I always think it's funny when Drake said this line. He was like, "You're not a real model if you haven't been on Vogue," or something like that. I'm paraphrasing here. But when I got that little feature, I was like, okay, I wasn't on a Vogue cover, but I was featured on the Vogue site. So yeah, I was like, oh, that's great. But it was just like, I remember, after a month or so after I got back home to Los Angeles, it was just like, okay, I spent all this money to go to Los Angeles, rented out an Airbnb, spent so much money riding around town, going to the auditions, got the Vogue cover, and nothing ever came out of that. Not any future calls for future gigs, not anything, not another call back from a designer to come back. Actually, there was one, but people that know, like, Fashion Week doesn't pay at all. It doesn't. It's all for the exposure. I think some of the higher up models, get maybe the clothes to take home, but excuse me. But there's really no compensation when it comes to it. So your value comes from the exposure. But I was just like, I didn't model the Versace's, I didn't model the Tom Fords when I went in 2022. So I wasn't gonna get the type of exposure I needed to really make it, to get those future high paying jobs. So, and I wasn't, connected. I didn't have agents that could get me there. All of my gigs, it's crazy, like being the model I am and the success I have had, which I'm so grateful for, it was all because of me. I sent out a million emails, asking, if they were looking for a model, and that's how I landed actually the 2 designers I did model for that were doing shows for Fashion Week. I sent out emails. I was outside, I was doing my thing, I was hustling. And, it's also in the industry, and Fashion Weeks have become so annoying to watch, because it's just like you see these Nepo babies and people that, are raised a certain way, have these connections, just get a shot and not have to do the hard work I had to do in order to get there. But again, I'm not speaking from a bitter perspective. It's just, it just sucks. It's reality. I was dealt a different hand than, these other women. But it's not so much of the fact that, Nepo babies are running the world now, or running these industries like mine. It's the fact that they're not even good. Like, if they were actually good, I wouldn't have anything to say. But these women, it's like Kaya Gerber. Kaya Gerber, if you don't know who Kaya Gerber is, she is Cindy Crawford's daughter, supermodel Cindy Crawford. You guys know who Cindy Crawford is. But I've seen her walk before, and she's amazing. I think she has the confidence. She obviously has the body type. She has the face, but she's not even in it like that. Like, she'll attend a show, but as far as her walking, she doesn't do it a lot anymore. And I think that is interesting. I think that, because she had every opportunity. She has everybody behind her. She has the support from her mom, the support from her mom's connections. But she was like, no, I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to do my book clubs. I'm going to read. I'm going to attend stuff from here and there. But I'm going to do my own thing and date privately and just live my private life. And kudos to her for that. But these women, I feel like Gigi Hadid should never have become a model. Kendall Jenner and Bella Hadid, I might give a pass to. But these other models, and it's just like, what? And you see them walk, it's like, is this a joke? They can't walk. They have no class. Nothing they wear makes you want to buy what it is they're wearing. It shouldn't be modeling. That's what makes it sucky. It's like, why Naomi Campbell, women like Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, Linda Evangelista, Claudia Schiffer, why they were so iconic? It's because they own that runway. They could sell you anything. They had the beauty, they had the class, they did interviews. You could hear how articulate they were, how classy, how polite they were in these interviews. And you don't see that in models of today. Especially not the higher up ones. It's so funny. I love watching these videos, these clips of the runways from these fashion shows of today, because I love watching everyone. It's so funny. The Irina Shayks, and the Candace Swanepoels, and the Hadids, all of them. But there's so many other models that are so good at walking what they do, but you never know them. You never know who they are. They're not tagged in these photos that are taken on Vogue's website. but they're great, but they don't have the connections, they don't have the social media presence as a Gigi Hadid, you know, or Irina Shayk, which a lot of these other models, you know, and Victoria, I think her name is, I forget her last name, Soretti, I think it is, you know, they aren't connected to a big old superstar, you know, that has millions of followers. So they don't have millions of followers, they're just there through their agency or whoever. So it just sucks that the people with the actual talent don't get the recognition they deserve, but that's life. And that's even Hollywood too. The most talented people aren't in Hollywood anymore either. But it used to be a time where that was more prevalent. It used to be a time where that was more of a thing, that you had to have some type of talent in order to make it. But now it's just, you know, if you're popular, if you were raised in the right settings, if you were put in the right rooms at a young age to adulthood, you're let in. It seems like these people that were allowed to be let in the room just don't appreciate, you know, how special it is to be there. And that's all I'm saying. These fashion weeks have been nothing but proof that, you know, people have started to care, to not value, you know, true art. That's what it is. Fashion week is true art coming to life. You know, the designers who put in, they work all year. They work from February down for these designs to come out, and some of them, you know, have been, you know, tucked away for years, and then they just decided to bring them out in a certain year. You know, it's a lot of work that goes behind it, and the fact that that's not being acknowledged, and it's just being seen as an opportunity to get a quick flick, get a quick pick, and, you know, take a quick picture with the designer and leave. It's a popularity contest. It's kind of saddening. And the fact that, you know, even the industry, it's paid less, it's being taken over by AI even. I've had model friends who have been replaced by AI already, and it's crazy. It's just now starting out, but it's only going to get worse and worse as time goes on, and that's just in the kind of print and commercial, but it's going to happen in person too. They're going to get to the point where they have AI robots walking in these clothes rather than actual human beings, and I see the decline coming, and yeah, it's going to be tough for a lot of people that, you know, like me, when I first moved to Los Angeles, you know, I thought, you know, I was going to be this big old superstar. I thought it was going to be like the 90s. Somebody was going to scout me in the mall, or, you know, walking down Rodeo Drive or something like that. And I was just going to be blown up like that, when that's not the case. It's not going to be the case like that for anyone. You know, either you make it on the gram, or, you know, get lucky to be brought in a room or sleep with someone. I put that one out there too. In order to make it nowadays, it's not, you know, people out just scouting models anymore. But yeah, it's going to SHIT. It's going down the drain, the industry, and I just miss it. I just wish I was born a little early on. I was born in 98, if you guys don't know. I was born in 98, and that was kind of when things were popping, when I was born in the late 90s, even early 90s. I wish I got to experience it for myself. I love watching old videos of just the class, and the effortlessly walks that happen, you know, during Fashion Week, and the interviews. I love watching all of that, but it's in the past. It was a phase, and I don't think it's ever coming back, unfortunately. And it's really gone downhill. And oh, I wanted to mention the Balenciaga show. And, you know, like, Balenciaga, I don't know if you guys saw that scandal where they were literally, they had an ad where little kids were wearing bondage type gear with teddy bears, and it was little kids being sexualized, and it was a whole thing. Kim Kardashian got backlash because she was like a brand ambassador for the brand, And now it's like people just forgot that. They had a Balenciaga show in Paris just recently. And it was like, this is disgusting. It's like we're entertaining filth at this point. It's like, this is a whole new low. I get, you know, well, I don't get, but it's been happening for a while, so it's more understandable that, you know, we're supporting brands and, you know, having these influencers around that aren't of prominence in my eyes. But now we're also, you know, not condemning bad behavior. Now we're just gonna allow stuff like that to come to the side and just, you know, act like that never happened and just attend their shows. Like, I get you can forgive and move on, but it's just that shouldn't have, some things just should have never happened. Like, that campaign those photos had to go, like, how big Balenciaga is of a brand, it had to go through multiple people in order to be approved. And there wasn't one person that was like, maybe we shouldn't have kids in bondage-like gear with teddy bears. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I could never support a brand like that. It's disgusting. So yeah, it's like our morals have gone out the window. Our minds, period, have gone out the window, and the whole industry is just gonna go out the window eventually. And like I said, it sucks because I really enjoy it. And you know what? I think back to when I first moved to LA, and I wanted to be a big old time model. And you know, it's interesting, you know, I've applied to agencies, IMG, Ford, all the big ones, and I always got turned down. It's interesting, you know, to think it's like maybe even though all these people were telling me like modeling was my calling and I was supposed to be modeling in Paris and all of that, maybe it was never meant to be for me. And that was a hard truth to come to. You know, maybe this is for me. Maybe I'm meant for something way greater. Maybe it'll come later in life, but I'm supposed to be, you know, right now focused on speaking my truth and, you know, just being the best person I can be, working on myself internally, and then it'll come later. But it's like, do I really want it? Or am I just thinking that's something I should be because all these people were telling me I should be? Now, I have set the term, like, if you really want something, you'd have it. But I also agree, if something is not meant for you, if God does not want you to have it, it'll never become yours at the same time. And I think I'm in a fine line between the two, because I feel like, you know, I didn't do the work. I didn't start myself. I'm a foodie. Anybody that knows me, I love to eat, you know, and even though I'm slender, I know I didn't meet the requirements. And especially first starting out here, I didn't meet the weight and measurements, bust, waist, hips requirements in order to really, you know, thrive in the high fashion industry. And I wasn't willing to start myself, or, you know, put in the work. I hate saying start myself, but sometimes you got to do that for the industry. Any real model will tell you that. Any model that's really high up in the industry. So, yeah. I think it's a little bit, I didn't want it hard enough, and also it's not my calling. So it is what it is. But I love, you know, the commercial work I do here, the not so high fashion stuff as well. I love the people I meet. I love working on sets and meeting with designers and stylists and hairstylists and makeup artists. They're great people. I love wowing the photographer on sets. You know, even if I'm not on a runway, it's the greatest. But yeah, this is not a bitter video of me, you know, upset because I'm speaking only down on it because I've never really been a part of it. No, if I had the chance, you know, I probably want to taste it, absolutely. But I'm just, I don't know, I just feel like I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I probably would if it was the same way it was back in the 90s. Maybe I would, I don't know. But I think there's a reason why Yasmin Guri, look her up too, that superstar that quit, that retired early from modeling just to raise her family and get married. You know, it's not meant for everyone, even at the best of the best. She was one of the best. You know, saw something and she was like, oh, no, I want this. I want this, because this is not it for me. You know, the industry stuff right here, you're seeing stuff happening in the music industry. It's the same in any industry. There's a lot of craziness that goes on, and you gotta ask yourself, are you willing to put up with it? Are you willing not to put up with it? And it just seems like what we're putting up with, what these models I think are putting up with, is not, you know, I think there should be a balance to, you know, okay, you go through shit, but you get rewarded. Oh, pardon me, you go through crap, but you get rewarded with better stuff. And I'm just not seeing, the better part is not as good as it used to be. So, yeah. I don't know, guys. That's just my opinion. And yeah, that's all I had to say about that. The industry is declining, man. And, you know, it's a lot of industries. I don't think it's just the modeling industry. But we're in for a rude awakening. I really believe it. And yeah, I just hope everybody is prepared and is awake to it. Awake to the awakening coming. All right, guys, please like this video if you liked it. Please comment always. Let me know your thoughts. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys tomorrow, okay? Bye. I love you.